This is a story we've all heard, and at some point possibly pointed fun at. America, after all, is the land of the free and the home of what feels often like the ability to sue anyone you want for anything you want. But do you know the actual story behind it? The mystery of today's case lies behind the chilling details the media never told you, focusing only on the lawsuit itself. Why is it that we never seem to get the full story? Welcome to another intriguing episode of All Things Mysterious, the podcast where all the realms of true crime, supernatural, and the unexplained converge. I'm your host, Jordan.
I'm Matt.
We're ready to plunge into today's fascinating mysteries. Let's dive right in. Stella Liebeck and her grandson went to McDonald's on the morning of February 27, 1992. She was in the passenger seat. They ordered coffee and a breakfast sandwich, and her grandson pulled over to a parking spot so that Stella could add cream and sugar to her coffee. The car they were in did not have cup holders, so Stella placed the coffee between her knees to steady it. While trying to take the lid off, the coffee jostled and spilled entirely on her lap. Unfortunately for Stella, she was wearing cotton sweatpants, and the hot coffee absorbed into them, adding to the burn radius. She screamed in pain, and at first her grandson actually thought she was being dramatic until she literally passed out from the pain. At this point, he rushed her to the hospital. The coffee was so hot, it literally melted her thighs, genitals, and lap area with third-degree burns. She spent 8 days in the hospital for burn treatment and skin grafts, and then went home, returning for more treatment daily because she couldn't afford to stay in the hospital any longer. Her daughter cared for her in the weeks she couldn't care for herself, losing her own income in the process. During the treatment, Stella lost 20 pounds, was permanently scarred, and was disabled for 2 years.
Okay, so I know this episode very well. And honestly, it's probably the episode that pisses me off the most because it honestly shows like how shitty corporations can be. Because I will admit that I fell for the propaganda that McDonald's clearly put out there. And for the longest time, I believed that this was a frivolous lawsuit.
Well, and I think that we all did, was the thing. And I'll talk about this later, but the media frenzy after all this came out was just, hey, this lady spilled coffee and wants to sue for some money. There was nothing about any of the actual burns out there about this at all.
110% McDonald's knew that they were in the wrong because immediately after this, they implemented changes specifically to the temperature that the coffee is kept at because it was unreasonably hot. To this day, there are people that still believe that this was a frivolous lawsuit and she shouldn't have sued and it was her own fault.
One of the reasons I wanted to cover this one almost goes hand in hand with the Tylenol murders case because it shows exact opposites, right? So you've got the Tylenol murders and you've got this massive corporation that handles things so incredibly beautifully. And then the more that we get into this case, you've got also this other massive corporation who you'll see very quickly in a second handles things the actual worst way.
110%. When we were doing the Tylenol episode, when I was talking about how Tylenol handled it well, McDonald's was the one corporation I was thinking about that didn't handle it well. And this is the part that's so fucking stupid about this whole case. Because, and you probably talk about this later, so this might be a little spoiler, so sorry. Originally, she only asked for her to get her medical bills paid. That's it. And fucking multi-billion-dollar corporation McDonald's decided that was just too much to ask from them.
You would be correct.
And even after she won the lawsuit, I mean, I know that they appealed it and fought it for years. And by the time they paid out, she basically got nothing. And now she's being portrayed as the evil person who just, sues McDonald's, and McDonald's is the victim. McDonald's is a piece of shit.
Well, and here's my thing. Okay, I understand. It does seem at the very beginning, okay, don't burn yourself with coffee. No coffee served to you should create burns so bad your skin melts to itself. Period. No coffee, period, ever, should be served at burning hot lava temperatures to the point where it is going to quite literally melt your skin basically down to the bone.
Oh, yeah, 110%. There's some people who are kind of in the middle of the road that say, well, she shouldn't have had it there, but McDonald's was wrong for keeping the coffee that hot. No, that's ultimately what it boils down to. Pardon the pun. Oh my God, I'm going to hell.
You are?
The fact that coffee was kept unnaturally hot for a reason, like McDonald's did it on purpose. And that's the thing that really takes me off about this whole thing, because they spent millions of dollars on ad campaigns to frame this as them being the victim and her being just a frivolous lawsuit. You won't spend $100,000 paying for medical bills, but you'll spend millions of dollars on an ad campaign to try to discredit this person. Doesn't make sense to me.
So initially, Stella just wrote a letter to McDonald's asking to cover her daughter's lost wages and her medical bills, totaling about $20,000, and informing them of their coffee being too hot. But McDonald's refused to pay that total, offering only $800. So of course, Stella got a lawyer. This was not the first case McDonald's had fought against their coffee. It had burned so many people before Stella, and her lawyer was ready to fight. There are over 700 similar claims of burns from their coffee before this case.
I did not remember that it was that low, that's how much she was asking for. And that just makes it so much worse. Because you got to remember that McDonald's is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I don't know if they're billion or million, but either way, they make a lot of money.
A ton. And honestly, here's the weird part. So I found a whole bunch of different sources on this, and there were some that were claiming it was a couple thousand. There was some that were claiming it was up to 20,000, and most of them said it was about 20,000. So that's what I went with. Those were the most reputable of sources. But even then, that's still a really low amount for medical bills, skin graft, and everything else, lost wages. She's not asking a lot. She just literally wrote a letter and was like, hey, I'm informing you of this problem with your coffee. I'm just hoping that you'd be kind enough to pay my medical bills and pay for the wages my daughter lost when she was taking care of me during this time. And McDonald's is like, we'll pay you $800.
Like I said, this case just pisses me off. Let's say they paid $100,000. They fucked up. They know it. Be kind. Just pay it out. Make sure she's okay and move on. And they would still save, millions of dollars from what they ended up losing on the lawsuit itself, plus the millions of dollars they spent on the ad campaigns to discredit this person. I don't understand the logic. Like, you're trying to save yourself $100,000 by paying millions of dollars, essentially.
It does not make any sense at all. And especially because, like I said, there were already over 700 cases of burns from this coffee. They knew damn well they were serving coffee that was way too hot to safely consume.
100%. And there is still people to this day who will defend McDonald's for this thing. And I just don't understand. Is it that you just don't understand all the details of the case? What is it? Because I don't understand. The details of the case is clearly McDonald's fucked up. They kept their coffee way too hot than what they needed to. And obviously they knew it, because after this, they end up lowering what they kept the coffees at.
Yes, they kept it, I looked at it, between 180 and 190 degrees. And typical coffee is served around, I believe, 120.
McDonald's at the time kept their coffee way too hot. And I know other restaurants kept it hot too for a long time, until they were smart enough to figure out, hey, maybe giving people 200-degree coffee is not a good idea. But McDonald's was just fucking stubborn and didn't want to change until they basically had to. McDonald's never were really held accountable, at least in the public perception.
No, not at all. And to be honest with you, I'm so happy that she did this lawsuit, because think about all of them other people that would have been hurt because of this coffee in the long run. There were 700 cases. There would have been probably 7,000, if not more.
I don't understand the logic. If someone can explain it to me, why saving, $20,000 justifies spending millions?
That's all it is. It's pride. And it doesn't make any sense, but that's all it is. It's corporate pride.
I hate this case.
So it went to court. The jury found McDonald's liable and awarded $200,000 to Stella, but reduced it to $160,000, deciding she was partially liable for spilling it. She was also awarded $2.7 million in punitive damages, but for whatever reason, the judge felt that was too high and reduced it to $480,000 because it was just too high. During the trial, McDonald's admitted to serving their coffee at 180 degrees. There were many reasons given. Less refills due to the wait time to drink it. People supposedly wait to drink their coffee until they're at work going through the drive-thru. Their coffee stays better and fresher at that temperature, etc. But thankfully, after this, McDonald's no longer serves their coffee at lava temperature.
So I don't think I really need to spend time talking about how stupid that judge is. But I can guarantee you I know how he got elected as judge and who paid for his election.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating because I feel like she honestly deserved more for her pain and suffering. Because if you think about where that happened and just the amount of movement that happens from like the groin area and just the suffering, I cannot imagine the pain.
Oh, I can't either. If McDonald's didn't act so shady in this whole ordeal, I could understand maybe lowering from 2 point whatever million dollars. 480 I think is a little low. I do think because of the way McDonald's acted in the first place, they definitely deserve to be punished. I think they should have been forced to pay more.
Well, especially considering something I'm about to talk about, and that's the media. The media got a hold of this story with absolutely no detail and ran away with it. Woman burns herself with coffee and sues McDonald's. Sure, it sounds ridiculous until you know the truth, because no one actually printed the facts. That 16% of Stella Liebeck's body had to have skin graft, and parts of her genitalia literally melted from coffee she bought at McDonald's. Celebrities all over the world were making fun of her. Talk shows were making fun of her. There's even a country song that makes fun of poor Stella.
I'm going to piss a lot of people off on this one. This is part of the reason why the education system in this country is so fucking piss poor. Because people are fucking stupid. And don't get me wrong, I was that stupid back then. That was before I really started actually looking into stuff and, trying to hear both sides of the story. I fell into that trap too. McDonald's did a good job on their ad campaign. They thoroughly discredited her. They thoroughly made her a joke. And even today, I don't think McDonald's ever received any kind of backlash for that.
No, I don't think they did. I mean, the only thing is if you look up McDonald's lawsuit, this is what pops up. That's the only thing I can think of.
And even today, there's several websites that I've seen that are 100% on McDonald's side and, don't detail all the facts of the case. And honestly feel like they were written for McDonald's. It's frustrating as fuck, to say the least. Because on top of the injuries she received, because they were substantial, I've never had to have skin grafts, but I know people that have, and it is a long, painful process, especially if you get into that area of the body. Like Jordan said, there's a lot of movement, and you can't always control that movement. So it's painful. And then all she wanted was for her medical bills to be paid and her daughter to be paid for helping her. 100% reasonable. She didn't ask for millions of dollars. She just wanted her medical bills paid. The good news is she ended up getting all that.
It's absolutely insane. Because now, even now in 2024, there are so many people who think the McDonald's lawsuit is the most frivolous lawsuit you've ever heard in your life. And thankfully, a lot of people actually know the truth now. The truth is coming out in podcasts, in documentaries, in shows, and everything else, which is fantastic. I actually didn't know until I watched a YouTube video on it, I think. And that changed so much of my mind. I was like, how did I not know anything about this? And I felt horrible because I was one of those people. I was like, seriously, you just spilled coffee on yourself. This is ridiculous. Coffee's going to be hot. Coffee should not be so hot that it burns to your bone.
So obviously McDonald's was wrong for keeping the coffee that hot. They were wrong for not paying the medical bills when asked. But the thing that really shows the lack of integrity and how much these people are pieces of fucking shit is what they did after. They spent millions of dollars to destroy this woman's life because she had the audacity to stand up and tell them she wasn't going to stand for their fucking stupidity.
And I'm proud of her for that.
This woman honestly should be regarded as a friggin' American hero. Sorry, I feel strongly.
I'm over here making hand gestures going, simmer down, simmer down.
I knew at some point, because Jordan had said that she wanted to do this episode. I'm not going to lie. I 100% hoped that she would never actually get to it. Because I think when we first started, she was talking about doing this episode at some point. I never reminded her. I kept hoping that she'd just forget.
Not so lucky. Sorry.
Well, anyways, this case sucks. McDonald's sucks. I don't know what else to say.
Now that you know the full details, was this lawsuit as frivolous as you thought? There's truly not much mystery here, except for why McDonald's sold their coffee so hot after so many burn instances. Are there plenty of ridiculous lawsuits? Sure. But if you look into the details, they may surprise you. Thank you for joining us on this journey through all things mysterious. Your engagement is what makes this so rewarding. If you've enjoyed uncovering these mysteries with us, please show your support by liking, subscribing, and following us on your favorite listening platform. For more intriguing content and ways to stay connected, don't forget to check us out on our links in the description below. Your involvement is the key to unlocking more thrilling mysteries.
As always, we keep you guessing.